Does this increase HGH by 600%? Let's find out. So today we're looking at a supplement that's really pushed towards females. This is sold at Ulta and several other makeup stores like this. It's also sold at GNC and some other places. So this is Cerevital. This is $100. This is for a monthly supply, let me add, $100. Now if you want to find it on Ulta's website, all you have to do is type in HGH. It comes right up for you. So let's check it out. Now I'm going to give you my opinion on this. If I were just to see this in the store, or if someone was just like, hey, what do you think about this? Just generally speaking. First of all, if something says it's going to increase any kind of hormone, especially if it's something like HGH or testosterone, it's probably full of crap. So I'm going to tell you why. Now, just logically speaking, if it really did increase HGH, it would not cost $100. They would have found something that they would be receiving awards for, and it'd be all over the news. Okay. Second of all, real HGH on the black market is like $200 or less, and that's going to last you like several months. So the price point for something that's not even doing it compared to real HGH is kind of like, it's kind of ridiculous if you think about it, what they're actually pushing as far as what it actually does. Now the last point, with anything that says it's going to modulate any kind of hormones for you by just taking a pill that you can buy at like GNC or Ulta, if it really did that, this company would be dead and gone in a week, because they would not be able to overcome all the lawsuits of 15-year-old and 13-year-old girls and boys taking something that's increasing their HGH or testosterone or whatever it may be, because of all the side effects. Like, everyone knows if you take something in a small dose like this, yeah, it's what I'm trying to say is the poison is in the dose, I guess is my point. So like, yeah, it'll work, but like everyone's going to abuse it, just like on the black market, people abuse hormones all the time. This company would not survive if it was as simple as taking a pill. You know how many people would buy this and just take the whole package? Exactly. So it's probably not doing what it says. So this is a month's supply. Now let's take a look at the ingredient panel. So on the back, before you even get to the ingredient panel, they have this cute little chart that's basically showing you that HGH increases by 600%. We'll look at that in just a second. Now, if you look at this, it's going to show you it has 4 capsules, and within those 4 capsules total is 3 grams of stuff, basically, which is a little weird. That's if you put 3 grams of stuff on a table, you're gonna be like, why do you need 4 capsules? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you look at this, this is essentially just lysine, that's an amino acid, arginine, amino acid, oxoproline, that's a derivative of an amino acid, L-cysteine, L-glutamine, and then that last thing that I can't pronounce, if you look it up, it's basically like a Japanese catnip is all that is, which is like, it's an herbal something, but that's what they're saying is increasing HGH. So now, $100 for a month, that's ridiculous. So the first thing you should do, just for any supplement, is just look up if it's legit. If you just type in Cerevital legit, you're going to see a ton of articles on pretty legitimate websites. This one's cool because it lists out the main ingredients for you. And then the other fillers that are in there, that's not going to be listed on the box, but these are other fillers that are in the pills. Now this is interesting. I came across this website that reviews supplements pretty in-depth, and it gives a pretty good opinion on it. So this is something interesting. Now if you look into it, you can find this, but it's just right here for you. Basically, a company called Sierra Research Group funded the study, and it exists in the same city as Cerevital. All right, so they're both operate out of the same address. So the people that are doing the study and Cerevital itself are literally in the same office. It's in the same building. So they funded the study. All right, so when you start looking at this, obviously if they funded the study, that's a huge bias, right? And it's not like there's a third party looking at this, and most third parties are going to look at this study that I'm going to show you in a second and be like, this is ridiculous. We're not even going to waste our time on this. And anyone with any kind of medical background or history of, like, I don't know, study design, statistics, causal diagrams, things like that, you're going to look at this study and be like, this is kind of stupid. Now I'm going to be careful with my words because I don't want to get sued by Cerevital, but what they're claiming is HGH levels improved. And then, you know, this website points out a good thing. Like when you look at this study, there's tons of other things that can increase HGH, and it's not, they never say that it's like such a controlled study that they didn't do that. Like protein consumption can increase HGH, sleeping can increase HGH, exercising can increase it. There's a huge difference between males and females. Females produce way more HGH than men. So there's a lot of things going on that they don't account for in the study. So let's see. Let's look at the study. So this is the main study. So first of all, before we even get into it, this is what the increase is. Now I'm not where they get the 600%. I'm not 100% sure, but this is the difference in the HGH levels. Okay, 1.33 nanograms per milliliter after administration of the amino acid compared to 0.45 nanograms per milliliter after the placebo. So it's like, yeah, that's a pretty big difference, I guess, depending on it. But like, it really only matters in context to HGH. Like, how much HGH does someone actually produce if you were to just get like a blood test? Like, what's a normal range? Well, just Google it. So if you Google it, for males and females, it's basically 0.4 to 14 nanograms per milliliter. Now, if we go back to the study, both of these are on like the low end of normal. So like basically what I'm saying is they could have picked out the people with the lower HGH blood work and then picked out them with the high ones and done the study as many times as they needed to until they found what they were looking for. So when you look at this study, it's only like 16 people in this study. And like, yeah, 16 people, 12 males, 4 females. So that right there is like a huge thing. And then when you read through this, it's just not controlled. Like you can tell there's so many things they're leaving out. They don't test for certain things. And in this one, and when you look on the box, it mentions nothing about other things they might have tested. Now, when you look at things like this and you look at studies, you always want to look for the clinical trials. Anytime you look something up, like I think on the box it said 4 clinical trials. I can only find 2. I'm sure there's 4, or they kind of smudged it to say there's 4. So you basically go to clinicaltrials.gov. I typed in Cerevital. These first 2 popped up, right? Now, when you look at these, the dates of these are pretty far-fetched. So the first one's 2012. The other one I found is 2016. So the first one, 2012, this is the one that they're sort of saying works, right? So this is the clinical trial that they published to show that it works. So this first part shows the participants. And then when you come down here, you can see the things that they measured, which is essentially what you want to see. Now, change from baseline growth hormone, like you see after the amino acid supplement that they have. And again, it's showing nanograms per milliliter. And then the placebo went down. So they're saying that the amino acid supplement was better. Again, it's not controlled, so who knows. Now, here's some other things that they didn't quite mention. Again, all these numbers are so close that, like, I don't think you can say that it made that big of a difference. To say 600%, I mean, they're like really pushing it with that. And then another thing too is like the study mentions nothing about IGF-1, and that was the first thing I thought. Was like, why wouldn't you test IGF-1? Because if it's like your body's actually producing HGH, then downstream effect would be IGF-1, because there's a lot of things like this, sort of another rant, but if you bought black market HGH, there's things they can put in that if you got a blood test, it would say that your HGH is high, but it's actually not. It's sort of like when you take niacin and then you get blood work and it screws up anyway. So when you look at this, the IGF-1, unit of measurement, nanograms per milliliter, the amino acid supplement, 208, and then the placebo was 224. The placebo actually produced more IGF-1 than the amino acid supplement that they're marketing. Like, what? That makes no sense at all. So like, there you go. Their studies, but like their product doesn't do what it says. Like, and if this is true, then you should just tell me what was in that placebo. It was nothing. That's what I want, is the placebo, because it gives you more. And again, this is not a huge difference in numbers. Like, this is essentially saying it did nothing. So like, who knows how many times they did this study and the things they moved around to get it to show what they wanted. And that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, no government or third party is going to look at this and see this part right here and be like, oh, we should try to replicate this, because it would be so easy. Like, and then it comes down, it's almost like you're telling them that they're lying to the public. So like, what's the point of even doing that, right? Now, if you look at the second thing for a clinical trial, it's very similar. So it's got some different things here for the primary outcome that you can look at. So this one, they had the hypothesis that basically they should be able to measure your T3, and then they would be able to know what mechanism of action. So here's the write-up on this: mechanism for increased HGH over a supplement indicating proof of. So basically, again, the unit of measurement, They only have the one. They're not giving you like exacts on anything again. But this is to sort of put into stone, like, well, this must have changed, so that's why. But again, going back to this, the IGF is like the main thing, and they don't even mention it in any of the studies because it goes against what they want. So, I think this is something that can show you guys a lot about looking at supplements. Like, don't just go find the study, because the studies, they're making the study. Like, even if you look at the study, come down to conflicts of interest. It shows like this one lady, where is it? ALH. She provides consulting services to all these different people. So like, yeah, these might not have a conflict of interest, but she does. And then when you come up here to the top, and you see Frank Greenway, so his name is all over the clinical trials. So like, look, I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. They're technically telling the truth. They're just leaving out a lot of information. All right. So when you're looking at this stuff, is this worth $100? No, I think this is worth, honestly, this is worth nothing. I wouldn't take this for free because this is kind of stupid, but a 1 month supply for $99. Please do not buy this. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Go through these studies. Like, they're very interesting. I'm not saying I understand it 100% from these studies, because this is way over my head, even for someone that's taken classes in study design and setting up things like this. Like, I don't fully understand it. So take a look at it. You tell me what you think. Is this worth buying? Like, would it actually increase HGH? Do you think it would increase H? No, it's not. Like, there's other things that are going to increase HGH that are going through FDA approvals, like different secretagogues that basically tell your pituitary to increase HGH output. Like, those are things that we know work, and we have tons of studies. We don't have one study that's been manipulated to say what it wants, right? So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have some questions or input on this at the bottom, leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks.